It might actually be the most derivative one of all. I mean, Christ, the same house.
Maybe so, but you forgot the first rule of surviving a stab movie. Never answer the...
I'm bored.
Wait!
All right, and welcome back to another Horror Queers Hangout. We are joined by Sharai Bohannon, who's a very persuasive and effusive writer over at Dread Central. And we were meant to be joined also by Josh Korngut. Unfortunately, we believe he is stuck in the air somewhere. So he may join us. He may not, but we've got his picks because we are talking about our most excited titles of 2023.
And after 2022, like being such a stellar year for the genre, I mean, 2023 is a lot to live up to, I feel like. But I'm based on the picks that all of us have chosen, I'm really excited for 2023.
There's so many movies. There's so many movies I didn't even know to be looking forward to because I was like, okay, I know these 15 or 20, but I'm like, what do you mean there's a list of 75 and I want all of them?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, again, we have 8 picks, 2 for each of us. Rip Josh. Oh, God, not Rip Josh, but, we miss you, Josh. It is in the air. But no, 2 of them, I've never heard of these movies, and that is shocking to me. So,
well, and the thing that makes me like both excited and super trepidatious is the fact that so Sharai, Trace, and I, for October alone, we cataloged more than 40 titles that came out, and it's like half of those we didn't even know were happening, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea that we've looked at this list and we're like, here are the ones we're super excited for, and we just picked 2, and it's just a small list, and it's like there's going to be 100 titles that we don't even know what our favorites are going to be for this year.
And what also is another thing that throws me is that usually we're talking about stuff in America and maybe Canada, but there's so many movies that we don't even know until they're here because of the year delay. So they'll be like, oh, this was from Spain. What do you mean Spain was trying to give me nightmares? I couldn't see it. And so you're never caught up no matter what you do.
Oh God, no.
But I mean, because we're in this thing, trailers used to be released 6 months before a movie came out. That doesn't really happen anymore. And now we're getting trailers 2 weeks before, announcements plus trailers 2 weeks before the movies come out. So honestly, when I have a month's notice, I'm like, oh, thank God.
Right. I can make an informed choice now. Okay, so yes, as we have teased, we each have 2 picks, and we are going to talk through Josh's because it's fun, and that's what we're doing. So Sharai, since you are our guest of honor, why don't you gift us with one of your top picks for 2023?
Awesome. So in 2023, I'm looking forward to finally seeing Sick. I'm one of the last people who have not seen it. I don't know when it's coming out, but it has to, because they had me at Kevin Williamson. So I know that everybody else at Kevin Williamson, because most of us were there in the 90s. And so he owns us. I'm excited. I don't know most of these cast members by name. Some of them look familiar on their cute little IMDb pictures, like Mark Menchaca and Jane Addams.
Gideon Adlin. She's she's becoming a genre baby right now. It's wild.
Right, because she's Pamela Adlin's daughter, right?
Yes, Pamela Adlin's daughter. And she's the sister of the girl who's the lead in Hellraiser this year. Right. Because I found out she's also Pamela Adlin's daughter.
All these Nepo babies. Ooh.
Sorry, if you don't know who Pamela Adlin is, everyone, outside of being the voice of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill, she's also had an amazing show on FX called Better Things that lasted for 5 seasons.
Yes, so fucking good.
She's amazing.
And the daughters are both really talented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love when that happens.
So Sharai, apart from the Kevin Williamson factor, do you know anything more about this title? Why have you selected it as one of the top picks?
I thought I was one of those people who was not ready for pandemic horror. But I don't know. It looks like a nice little cluster of women in a cabin thinking they're doing the right thing. And of course they're not. That's relatable content to me. And so I just really want that, especially through the Kevin Williamson lens, but Caitlin Crabb has written the screenplay, I believe. That was the chain of command, I believe. And so I'm here for that because nothing better than a Kevin Williamson original. It's Kevin Williamson original that has a bunch of women driving it and writing it.
It is a slasher. So I have not seen this.
It's either. A slasher.
Yeah,
it is a fucking slasher.
That's what he does best.
With chase scenes.
Good.
The Kevin Williamson chase. Helen Shivers. That's art. Like, no matter what you feel with the trilogy franchise, that's art.
I think we're heading into an era of slashers where we're going to start seeing more chase scenes, because I mean, we'll talk about Scream 6 in a minute, but we had the thing where it's like, Jenna Ortega's like out in the fucking like publicity tour being like, oh yeah, like we're really trying to do Scream 2 chase scenes, because the creators are looking on Twitter and social media and be like, oh yeah, people like those chase scenes in Scream 2. And so
25 years later, yes,
I know.
We still like them.
I think we're going to be seeing more and more chase scenes. Like we had a little bit of it this year with like Midnight, which is just a whole like chase scene in movie form. But yeah, I'm really excited for that too. I mean, again, you say Kevin Williamson slasher, done. That's a done deal for me.
No, take my credit card. Don't even tell me. Just give me my seat.
I've been trying to like bite my tongue this whole time because I have seen it. I managed to see it at TIFF. I got to hear the Q&A. This is going to be really interesting. I do think that there's going to be a little bit of division with how it's received, but I can tell you that this movie fucking goes hard. Like the action is really, really good. So I can't wait for people to see it.
Right. You really liked it.
I feel really liked it.
I don't want to get too much into it. Well, I don't want to get too much into the because I think that people, the complaints that I've been seeing have been mostly with the third act of the film.
Yeah, it's the way it all kind of resolves. I do think people are either going to like love it or hate it, or it's just going to be a talking point. Like expect to see a ton of editorials about it.
Okay. Well, I'm excited with you, Sharai.
Yeah, no, it's the one thing when I couldn't get a screener for it, I did cry a little bit because normally I'm like, I don't get things, that's fine, but I'm like, but I need this. Like,
I deserve this.
This is what I worked for my whole life as a Kevin Williamson screener. Like, that's my only goal.
They were holding. And actually, Joe, do we know if that got a distributor yet? Has it been bought?
It has been bought, but they've been completely mum about like when we can expect it. Like, there's no. It's not even like spring, summer. It's like, it'll come out in 2023. That's all we know.
They're going to drop that trailer 2 weeks before it comes out.
And I'll be in the theater. Like, I'm ready. I'm hoping for a nice little summer romance with it because that feels right. Air conditioning in theaters, cold cocktails, Kevin Williamson. That's my America. Look.
Okay. You're like I'm like, I want like February. I want it like now.
Right. Like
it's
sooner
too cold
than
for
that.
Yeah. It's too cold. I'd be like, oh no, there's another blizzard. Do I risk it in an Uber in a blizzard?
And you
probably
would. You
would. I'd be like, oh no, we're stuck. I could have foreseen this coming. Look.
All right, so let's move on to Josh's first pick. So unfortunately, again, not here, but his first pick is going to be the new adaptation of Salem's Lot. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hate that Josh isn't here to talk about this because I have no connection to this story at all.
Really?
I've never read it. I've never seen either of the 2 remakes, Toby Hooper's original or the Rob Lowe one from like the 2000s. So all I know is that this is about vampires in a town. That is all I know about this story.
I'm not gonna lie, I've not seen the second one with Rob Lowe, even though I want to because I know it exists. And after the fact, because like I was not keeping track on this because I was like, Salem's Lot, it's been done, we're done. And Rob Lowe was like, but I want a job. So I'm going to watch that one. But like, it was my first Stephen King novel I read all the way through as a tween because I was racing to see the movie on TNT, not understanding that TNT repeats everything forever and always. So it was not a race that needed to be won. But I just remember being like, so the movies are different than the books. That's what I've learned here tonight. Right. And I'm going to go be sad about that. But like, it was not an awful movie. It's just made for TV and it was older. And so like, it's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the book is almost 500 pages, and I think we're just getting a single adaptation, like a single film.
So one film.
We're not chapter 2ing it or whatever. But the director, I am cautiously optimistic. His only previous directing effort, it's Gary Dauberman, but he did Annabelle Comes Home, but he wrote...
He's written a bunch of the Conjuring stuff.
He wrote all the Annabelles, basically. And he also wrote The Nun and It Chapter 2. And so that's kind of a roller coaster quality where I'm like...
Annabelle Creation was so good.
Creation's great. Creation's fantastic.
Yeah. And we know that he can handle the direction then, because that's his directorial credit, you said, Trace?
Comes Home is his directorial, and I think Comes Home is fine. Like that's like a solid 3 out of 5 movie where I'm like, it's fun, but like I forget about it like the second I walk out of the theater.
Yeah,
right.
It's better than the first one, but like that's
it's a low bar.
It's such I'm still bitter for Alfred Woodard.
Right?
But you know
Yes.
what? I'm gonna let that go because I want to see this new Salem slot because
Mhm.
for my heart I try. I'm
Mhm.
always a Stephen King kid.
Yeah, I think I'll go back and I don't know if I'll read the book, but I'll probably go back and watch the Toby Hooper one because I know that people do have a strong affinity for that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's definitely one that I want to just like see first.
No, like I've been trying to do Uncle Stephen in audiobook form lately because like I have 2 or 3 tubs of his stuff, supporting my computer and my hobbits in this corner that I never unpacked. And so like they're like Bibles. And so it's hard to carry
Right.
those around and it's hard to like get motivated to be like, I'm gonna read 800 pages of Uncle Stephen. So
Mhm.
I love audiobooks. I can be like, okay, I'm in a moment where I'm doing stuff with my hands, but I can kind of focus. So let's rehear this and see if it's what I remember. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
my thing with this is that this has already been moved once. So this was supposed to come out in the fall, and we don't know whether
Yeah.
it's related to the quality of the film or if it was just like things are shifting in Hollywood and we're moving product around. But like the fact that we've been so mum on this, like I think we have a poster, we have not seen a trailer. I'm just like, what's the deal with this? People are clearly excited, and I don't know why they're not trying to feed that frenzy.
The poster is literally black with the title. I only know because I was putting together an article last week for stuff we're excited for next year, and I'm like, not even a poster yet, not even a poster.
Like, what are we doing? I mean, this is coming out in March, so they still have some time, but also I would have thought that they'd be trying to like build up a little bit of enthusiasm for this.
Well, maybe you'll get justice for Alfred Woodard because she is in this movie.
She's playing a doctor, and I don't remember that character because it's been a minute. And so I want to like go back and be like, what are my notes from the last time I looked at this book? But yeah, I am cautiously optimistic because I do feel like a lot of the Uncle Stephen stuff needs to be updated.
Yes.
It just does. There's no sugarcoating that. And hopefully we're gonna start making some of it a little bit more accessible and less offensive because again, like he can do a story, but is it worth some of the trauma? Sometimes I wonder. Usually no.
Well, speaking of things that were shifting and moving, my first pick, so both of mine are major IPs, so I don't have any original horror, unfortunately, on this. Although
She's
Megan
not
was
an
a very
original
close
girl at all.
It was a very close contender, but I was like, Megan's about to come out, so it's like,
sure,
I'm gonna see it.
It'll probably be out by the time this episode already drops.
Exactly.
I'll be in the theater.
But but my pick is Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise, which Lee Cronin, he's the director of the Hole in the Ground, which I think he directs really well. I think the movie's fine. Like I think the movie's a little
I don't love the narrative, but it's fine.
Yeah, but I think he directs it really well. But this is a movie that was supposed to go straight to HBO Max, and then they said, nope, we're gonna release it in theaters in April 2023. Almost exactly 10 years to the day after the 2013 remake.
After the Fede Alvarez one, right?
So and it takes place in a high rise, so we're Poltergeist 3ing it. I don't know if this is a sequel or a full-on reboot, like if it's connected. But honestly, I don't care because you give me actually Deadites in a skyscraper, so it's Poltergeist, but it's also Demons 2 because Demons 2 also takes place in an apartment building.
I mean, you have to release this one in a theater because, like, the fan base for this is rabid. Like, the Evil Dead stands have nothing on the rest of us. We thought we were.
They're terrifying.
They were like, we need our own Comic-Con, and they were like, you do, and they let them have it. So I am not the best when it comes to Evil Dead. I think I've seen the first 1 or 2, and so I'm using this as an excuse to see all of them.
Sure.
Oh my god!
This is exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is
the TV show is so fucking good.
TV show's super fun.
Oh, and Trace, of course, is going to say that the 2013 film with Jane Levy is also great.
So I'm actually in a weird, maybe not the minority. I think it's an even split, but I actually do in the original trilogy. I actually do think the first one is my favorite. I love Evil Dead 2, but I prefer the straightforward horror of the first one. The second one's very much we're just going to remake the first movie and make it a comedy. The show is fantastic. The remake is great, and I think now with the popularity of that video game, I think I think that this new one is going to do very good money.
Oh, it's going to explode. It's going to make so much money.
I just also love because, like, again, I was putting together an article last week. This one's going to follow 2 sisters, and I'm like, you're fighting demons and family? Oh, hell no! I want a front row seat.
I mean, the remake is the protagonist getting over a heroin addiction, and so when she starts getting possessed, they're like, well, you're just going through withdrawals.
God, yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be a cute little marathon for me at some point this year before this movie comes out.
Do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super stoked for that, and I'm excited to see what Cronin does with it. And I mean, hopefully it can match the remake in terms of the sheer amount of blood used on screen.
I think they've already said some stuff about like how much they used, and it was like outrageous. I don't know. I've been trying to stay away from the promotional images just because I'm like, I don't need to know what the Deadites look like. Let me be surprised. But also, like, if you're gonna try to give me that, I want a trailer. I want the poster and that kind of stuff. Like, give me some more conventional marketing.
Yeah. But all right, Joe, what's your first pick?
Okay, so my first pick, as I open up the window, my first pick is probably a lesser known one. It's Apartment 7A. And if you don't recognize this, it's because it doesn't have a release date. It doesn't have a log line. It just has a director. And that is Natalie Erica James, she who directed Relic, which was my favorite horror film from 2020. And the fun thing about this, so originally it was rumored that she was adapting another short of hers, which was about like women getting pregnant in like weird circumstances on an island. And I was like, here for it, watched the short, really liked it. And then it started to leak that this might be a secret Rosemary's Baby remake.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
So I am like, that director, that material, it's already completed, so I know it's coming out in 2023, and I'm so fucking here for it.
So I will say the Wikipedia page does have like based on Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin in the description. Now, of course, that's Wikipedia, but
it got leaked, but it was never confirmed. So it's kind of like, oh, we're still living in the land of speculation, but it's like,
I would love to see her spin on Rosemary's Baby.
Right? A female directed and written take on this material. Like, it's exactly what that story needs.
Do y'all not, hey, I mean, you probably don't remember, but do y'all remember that there was a TV miniseries with, I want to say Zoe Saldana?
Yes.
A few years ago?
Not good, unfortunately.
It's on my list of things to watch just because, again, I want a newer Rosemary's Baby, one with less baggage. And so I'm going to watch it. I don't have a lot of high hopes. And Joe just confirmed that. But I'm going to watch it because that's what wine is for.
I think the miniseries adapted both Rosemary's Baby and its sequel, Son of Rosemary. I think that was the difference.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm always here for Saldana, but it looked like they didn't even know what to do with her. And I was like, I don't know how you waste an actor with that kind of charisma. Like, I just don't.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that was also female directed, by the way, though.
Okay.
Who?
Oh my God. Sorry, I don't mean to waste time, but it's literally a name that I'm like, I know this woman.
No.
Oh, she directed. Oh, nope. No, never mind. It's a female director, but nevertheless.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. Good luck cleaning that up in the edit. I'm sorry. Yeah. I had no idea this existed, Joe. So I'm actually really glad that you brought this up because that is very exciting.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So round 2, Sharai, what is your second pick?
I am a Scream 6 stan account. They're moving it to New York, and we're keeping all the like Black and brown people who survived this last movie. There's less legacy characters, so we can finally do something new, possibly, hopefully. I'm really excited to see how like all my theories track for these characters and how they fall into the roles of the original trilogy. And so the fact that they have left Woodsboro is going along with my theories, which I mean, I don't know if I'm right or not because Radio Silence doesn't talk to me. But like win, lose, or draw, it's gonna be a good time. So yeah.
I think my thing with this is, I mean, I like their Scream a lot, but it felt I don't want to say cookie cutter because there were surprises in it, but I wasn't like wowed by Scream 2022. And what I think I'm most excited about with this one, outside of the obvious change in scenery, like to New York City, this can finally be their movie. Because a lot of that Scream 5 was very much indebted to the original film. We were copying a lot of the same beats, but updating them to 2022, which is great. But I'm more excited to see what they do with their own stuff, because as we know from Ready or Not, like, they can do some really cool shit. And I'm more excited about this now than I think I was for Scream 5 back then.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Scream 5 is like in my top 3 Screams, and there is no bad Scream. There are some that I would not run back in for immediately. I would hesitate.
Sure.
And that is Scream 3. But like I've never had a bad time. I've never been like, this movie's shit, how dare you? My franchise is ruined. It's just been like, okay.
Yeah.
And so
I'm not going to rewatch that one as frequently.
Right?
I mean,
I tell myself.
I have watched Scream 5 at least 5 times this year. So I mean, I'm good for a bit.
Right.
It's my new comfy movie. I watched it on the plane before we came back for Bodies. Because I was like, Bodies and Scream 5 on this plane, and it's a 7-hour trip. Why not both?
Well, and also because we're gonna get, I think, a larger role for Gale Weathers, and of course, we have Hayden Panettiere back as Kirby. So I mean, there's a lot, and we don't have to go through the whole let's introduce these new characters again because we know most of them now.
Well, that's the thing is I think we're in a good, we've already talked about how Jenna Ortega said that this is going to more closely mirror the chase sequences from Scream 2, but in a way, this is also maybe just going to follow Scream 2 more closely, right? Where it's like we get to hit the ground running, and also they're in college, like we're in a big city, really opens up the kind of opportunities for chase sequences and different kind of set pieces. But even just like the tone in that teaser, I was like, oh, this is frightening. Like, this is really interesting and exciting. And it does feel like they've broken free a little bit of the confines of having to be indebted to Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven.
Yeah, they don't have to prove themselves.
Yeah. I haven't seen the teaser because I want no spoilers. Okay. But like, if we don't get a subway chase scene, why are we here? And I'm just about that. And it's radio silence, and so I have complete faith because like last time I was like, I need these things for this movie, and they were like, we've already done it, it's good, go home.
check
and I was like,
you're good.
oh, okay, I feel heard, I feel seen, see you in your next movie.
Well, I think that with our next pick for Josh, I'm learning that Josh is a big Stephen King head, because his next pick is another Stephen King adaptation called The Boogeyman that will be directed by hosts and dashcams Rob Savage, and co-written by the guys who did Haunt and A Quiet Place.
Right.
As a Stephen King kid, I'm not familiar with this one, and so I love that Josh, who is a Stephen King stan account, that's one I've never heard of. So I'm like, oh no, let me check my receipts. Where did I go wrong?
Well, it's okay. So The Boogeyman is a short story from 1978 that was a part of King's collection Night Shift. So I had never heard of this either. But basically it's like a steel reeling from the tragic death of their mother, a teenage girl and her little sister find themselves plagued by a sadistic presence in their house and struggle to get their grieving father to pay attention before it's too late, which sounds a little bit different than the story it's based on, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it's a short story, so they had to expand it out a bunch. Having watched Mr. Harrigan's Phone earlier, like in 2022, sometimes you can really go wrong when you're adapting short stories and you're trying to pad that material because there's just not enough there. So I'm really interested. To me, this is one of the slighter entries of that book. I have read it because we read it for Horrorclure's book club this year. And this was not one of the standout stories to me. So I'm kind of like, oh, this wouldn't have been my first pick to have adapted, but it has potential. I'm worried that we're going to get into a like darkness falls, lights out kind of vibe. Like it's very much that kind of thing.
That's what it sounds like.
I think outside of Mr. Harrigan's Phone, it's not Stephen King, but it's Stephen King related.
Adjacent.
The Black Phone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Which is a good movie. So it's none of our favorites, but it's a good movie.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, honestly, I'm fine. Take a mediocre short story and make it a really good film. Like, by all means, do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's fine to have a fine film. I do. I think that we like to be like, it's a 1 or it's a 10, but sometimes the in-between ones are fine as well. Like
sometimes it's aggressively 6 and we could be okay with that.
Listen, I have not produced a 6th film yet. So who am I to be like, how dare you? It's fine to have a fine film. And we revisit them, even though we know that they're not like Oscar bait. We're you know what? We've all done enough Friday 13th do-overs. None of us get to judge anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I used to always look at reviews and be like, oh, a C, that's so bad. But it's not. A C is just average. It is like, it's fine.
Right. They did enough of the work for me to give it a passing grade. And you know what? Good for them. Because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so Josh is over in Stephen King land. I'm bringing us back to the land of James Wan because my pick is Insidious. Well, I thought it was Insidious chapter 5, but it is just called Insidious Fear the Dark.
Oh boy,
whatever.
that title.
I am so excited for this, if only because it is going to be a direct sequel to Insidious chapter 2, which I have been waiting for since what, 24, almost a decade.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I like 3, I don't like 4.
I haven't seen 3 or 4 yet.
We have Patrick Wilson coming to direct it.
Yes. Daddy directs now.
He's back. The kid Ty Simpkins is back. Rose Byrne is back, but I will bet you Rose Byrne's probably going to be in a minor role.
Yeah, she's like, I'm Rose Byrne now. Fuck off. I'm busy.
Listen, and Lin Shaye is also listed on the IMDb, and so I'm just like, how?
Do you think it's going to be flashbacks?
Well, no, because remember 2 ends. The cliffhanger of 2 is that she is going around with the 2 ghost hunter guys, Lee Winnell and the other one. Right. And they take her to this house, and she's the ghost helping them, and she turns around and she just goes, "Oh my god!" and then cut to black. And that is the last. That's the last event chronologically in this franchise. And so I want to know what happens.
No, okay. I'm ready. I'm gonna watch the other 2, even though I don't need to for this, just because I'm a completionist. And I was having a bad time with the first 2, and so I'm willing to give it the last 2 and then be like, okay, let's go.
Wait, you don't like the first 2?
I did like the first 2. Oh. And so I'm willing to like go into the next 2 because I like the first 2. If I hated the first 2, I would be like, I'm just gonna see how people feel about this 5th one Friday. One more time.
Yeah, I
like
think
the first 2.
I think 3 is one of those ones where it's like it's a 3, maybe a 3.5. You're like, I think it's pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. 4 is just like
I've heard not.
We're spinning the wheels with this franchise. We are dragging this shit out, and it's just not very interesting. The director, it sucks that the director is I really like, but it's so whatever. Patrick Wilson directorial debut. Hopefully it's good.
Listen, I'm here for him in whatever capacity he wants to be here for me in, and so why not?
It's one of those things where I'm always trepidatious but also excited because I'm like, oh, I didn't think we were going to get this, so now that we are, it's like, you know what, I'm fucking on board. Like we watched the other films. I will make the trek out to see this one as well.
Well, it's also coming out in June or July, and I'm like, you don't release a horror movie in June or July unless you have some confidence in it. And so
summer box office. So
I'm hoping, that just means it's confident. Unless, of course, we find that they're pushing it back. Then who knows?
I mean, that's a whole other chat, right? It's like, which of these titles do we think is actually going to come out, and will it come out on the place that they said it's going to?
It's the scariest game. I do love it when a movie is like, we're going to be out in time for her birthday, because I'm a June 10th girl. And so like, I remember going, I think it was the week after my birthday, to see Hereditary and being too drunk in the theater with the surround sound to be there for that. But I did it. So I'm used to something good being there for me. And so like, if it's Insidious, that's a good year.
Yeah. See, we're February, baby. So our month is very hit and miss. Sometimes we get good things, sometimes we don't. That's my segue into my last pick, because I have chosen M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin, because we have queer representation front and fucking center, and also it's adapted off of Paul Tremblay's novel, which I've heard nothing but good things about, even though they seemingly want to bury that in the marketing and people are very annoyed.
Yeah, this is I know nothing about this, and it has taken all of my power not to just go read the Wikipedia summary of the book, because
I'm like not watching those trailers where they're like, this is confirmed. I'm like, delete, thank you.
I've heard it's very heartbreaking. Like there obviously is going to be a twist of some kind. I don't know, but like I dread every time a Shyamalan movie comes out, not because of the movie, but because I hate the discourse around M. Night Shyamalan. It is.
I thought we had moved past this. I thought we had forgiven him. He has given us The Visit, Servant, Old, like all of these fucking bangers. Like, let's let Lady in the Water go. Anybody who loves Lady in the Water, I'm sorry. God bless you. But Jesus.
But that's the thing, though, no, because we were doing well because The Visit was well received. Servant's been doing really well. People hated Old, and
fuck them. That movie's
movie where fun. I was like, that's like a 2.5. I'm like, it's a fine movie, but like the M. Night Shyamalan, it's akin to Rob Zombie, where it's like, look, people love to hate on this person.
Yeah,
I will never not go see a Rob Zombie or an M. Night Shyamalan movie, because while yes, I have seen bad movies that both of them have done, at the very least, they will always make an interesting film. Yes, very much so.
Sharai, what's your relationship like with Shyamalan?
I I always predict the ending. So The Visit was the last one I saw because a friend took me before I knew it was an M. Night Shyamalan.
I love The Visit.
I predicted it. I turned to my friend because I was like, you knew I was going to be upset. And also, guess what? These aren't their grandparents. He's like, you don't know. And then we watched the whole movie and he's like, how'd you know? I'm like, because I know.
Okay, but wait. But see, that I understand that critique. My issue is, though, that to me only applies to a first watch of a film.
Right.
Yeah, like I don't like when I can like sit there in the first 5 minutes like, this is how this is gonna end. And I am a ruiner, so to be fair, that is a me thing because I've seen a lot of TV. The TV raised me, and so I'm just like, this is A and B, so C is gonna be that. And if we don't have fun getting there, at least, then I'm not here for it. And I didn't have fun seeing my truth come to life. And so that was my last one.
I had so much fun with The Visit because I like those kids. But sorry, we're talking about The Visit.
I am also anti-children, and so like it was a couple of things working against me, and that's my own fault. I'm a ruiner, and I hate children.
Well, wait, have either of y'all read any? I haven't read any Paul Tremblay's. Have y'all read any of his books?
No, but I've always wanted to. I think I follow him on Twitter. Maybe I might be a liar.
So we read one of his books in the Horrorcore book club earlier this year. It was not this one. It was another one that was like very well received. I had mixed thoughts about it. I liked his writing. I just wasn't sure I loved the story as much as some other folks, but I have gathered that he's like very beloved, and like if you like his stuff, then generally he's very consistent.
Well, this looks like a bottle movie. Like, I mean, it looks like we're spending most of the time in this cabin. So I'm always excited for that.
Because you have to remember that M. Night also self-finances his movies so that he has greater control over them. So like he probably shelled out $10 million of his own money to make this, but
I respect that. Because a lot of times people have too many people interfere with their movies. So I respect that. Yay, I have a compliment for M. Night. Look at me.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so my bonus round before we clear this up, and I have not prepped any of you for this. Which of these titles do you think is going to be the top grosser? So of the ones we have mentioned, obviously, I think a couple of these might not go to theaters, but I'm curious to know, we've listed some pretty big titles. Which one do you think is going to make the most money?
Sharai, I have my answer, but you can go first, Sharai.
I am stuck between Scream and Evil Dead because I know Scream will do the numbers, but I also know the Evil Dead fan base is not to be, you cannot count them out ever. And so like it's gonna be one of those two, and I'm torn.
So okay, I think it will be Scream. And I agree, it's gonna be between those two. Maybe Knock at the Cabin if word of mouth is really positive. But there, just to give you some history, so the Evil Dead remake in 2013 made $54 million domestically, which for a hard R-rated movie that was like marketed entirely around how gory it was going to be, I think that's pretty good. Scream 5, in the midst of like a resurgence of COVID last January, $81 million domestic.
Right.
And I think that the Scream franchise, well, you're right about the Evil Dead franchise, like the fan base. I think that the Gen Z, the TikTok generation, has really embraced Scream as a franchise. So while Scream 5 was, trying to cater to old and new fans alike, I think now we're all on the same page where we're like, cool, like you've earned our money. We're all going to go see Scream 6.
Listen, my wallet opened the second they said they were doing it because I was like, you have to do a sequel. And they're like, we don't have to do a sequel. I feel like I'm negging Radio Silence. I feel like, you have to. I'm like, we're already doing it. Leave us alone.
Ma'am, please calm down. We've already done everything you want of us.
Listen, you've asked for nothing we haven't already given you. Just wait for the movie to come out. So I love it. And I hope that it's the winner because, again, I am a Scream bitch. But also, like, I would not be surprised if, like, a lot of people were like, I'm going to see Evil Dead 3 times because I want to win and I need a win. Because we're in year, what of a pandemic? 3, 4? I don't know anymore. But some people need to win and they are willing to go to theaters again. And I'm not taking that from them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe,
so my pick is I do think it'll be between the two of them. I don't think either one of them will be the top grossing horror film of the year. I think it'll actually be something off this list that we don't even know is coming. They're just gonna stealth drop some random fucking IP on us that we're like, wait, I didn't even know this was happening. Guarantee it. But
or it'll be Megan, a Cinderella story.
Actually, Megan could genuinely surprise.
I think Megan's gonna do really well because
it's gonna kill. But the question is how much.
that PR team, the smartest
Raises
thing they've
for
ever.
all of them.
And it's already screened once, and the word of
And
mouth
people
out
love
of that
it.
screening was
Yeah.
very positive. And it's
Yeah.
PG-13, so kids are gonna go
Yes.
see it.
I'm
Yeah.
taking an expensive Uber to the Alamo Draft House 30 minutes away to see it on January 5th because I will not be spoiled. Because Akilah Cooper gave me Malignant.
Oh, she's
and
going
she
to
is my
Thursday night screenings.
Listen.
Well, so all right, I'm gonna say, all right, I think Sick. I think Sick will be like this year's Barbarian or Smile or something like that. Assuming word of mouth is really good.
I mean,
Scream
if it's a
6 will be
Smile,
fine.
then it's beating both of these other picks. Oh, by the way, my pick was Evil Dead because I think the pent up demand is there, and I think for Scream there's a lot of goodwill. But I think people are like, yeah, we just got a new one last year, it's fine.
Yeah.
That is, and see, and that's my thing with Insidious, where I'm like, I think it's been too long.
It's been
since
too
the last
long,
Insidious
and the
movie.
pent up demand is not there, unfortunately, for that
Exactly.
franchise.
So Insidious 5 needs stellar reviews and really good word of mouth. I think.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
We'll see.
Salem's Lot. Maybe I'm off the pulse here. I don't think Salem Lot is going to be that big of a deal, but maybe that's just because I don't care about it.
Is it theatrical or is it streaming?
We don't know anymore because they
We
moved
don't
it.
know.
And
Mhm.
it's again, as a Stephen King kid, it is not the one that people are like, that's the one I want. It's a good book. Like,
look at Pet Cemetery. Like look at that Pet Cemetery remake, which did fine.
Yeah.
But no one was running out to see that. But that was also because people thought, oh, it was hugely popular. But they're forgetting that it had that miniseries that terrorized children. And so that was fueling that.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like what's happened right now is that like we're oversaturated with the Stephen Kings. And so people can definitely be like, is it a name brand Stephen or is it a regular
Yep.
Stephen? I'm not going for a regular Stephen.
Yeah, which is why the Boogeyman, it's like, again, it either needs to be like crazy word of mouth, like really good quality, or it's going to be like, just another Stephen King adaptation.
The Boogeyman's Hulu, so that's not even going to be a thing. So
okay.
we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, so it'll be like a Books of Blood kind of Hellraiser level, I think, release.
Or Mr. Harrigan's phone.
There we go. So my stealth IP prediction, it depends on how quickly we can make it, but there is a new Alien that is shooting in early 2023.
Is that Fede Alvarez?
It is Fede Alvarez. So if he can turn that around, I don't know what the post-production, it seems to me like that's probably in early 2024, but like I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden that comes out in fucking October and is like cha-ching at the box office.
You know, I think it'll be 2024, but say what you will about Fede Alvarez. I actually have liked most of his films. That Dragon Tattoo when he did being the exception. That man can direct. And he can, as we've seen in Don't Breathe, again, whatever you think about Don't Breathe, he can do suspense in tight, claustrophobic spaces very well. And so him doing an Alien movie is instant ticket for me.
Yeah.
No. Like I love Alien. I feel like after Sigourney Weaver left, which was her right to leave after so many movies, we sort of like lost ourselves. But we had some fun adventures, and like we still have the aliens doing the things. And so like I'm gonna show up.
I think this is a reboot. I think this is like I
think it's a
full
reboot.
Continuity.
It's not continuity.
I'm into that because again, like some of the later ones, like I feel like 3 and up. I know some people love 3 and that's their right. But like 3 is when I was like, I don't want to be on here anymore.
I like Resurrection. I like 4.
Like that was fun.
It's silly, but it's not.
Winona Ryder and Sigourney Weaver, and I was like, are they a couple? And they were like, no, but she's gonna play basketball and like almost make out with her a little bit. And like,
it is so 1990.
Oh, it's super queer.
It's 1997. Resurrection I kind of treat as like fan fiction, where I'm like, this isn't real, but like I'm entertained by watching this.
Yeah.
Listen, it was definitely not the least.
It's not the worst.
No, like if I would have to rank them, she'd probably be in the top 3. Let's be honest. Like,
okay.
Covenant is pretty bottom for me.
Yes, I regretted that one. We did all of them for my birthday, I think last year. And we were live. So like I was finding out I hated some of these in real time.
Oh.
And it was
Drunk Sharai finds out she hates movie X.
Listen, poor Jamie was our guest the whole weekend. And she was like, yeah, you've not seen that one. It was just fun.
And I'm a pretty big franchise marathoner, but honestly, like I don't think I would ever want to marathon the Alien films. Like I'll double feature 1 and 2, but I can't imagine wanting to do 1, 2, 3, and 4, much less all of that plus Prometheus and Covenant.
We did 3 and 3. So we did 3 Saturday and 3 Sunday, and it was too much. That's why we don't go live for 6 movies in a row anymore. That we learned.
I mean, no, just
we learned.
Yeah. Well, check back in a year. We'll see if we got this right.
There we go. Yeah, I'm actually excited to see how our predictions fare. But yeah, I mean, folks, if you're watching this, please let us know in the comments if there was anything that you are excited for this year, or if you think that we're like totally missing the mark on our picks. But Sharai, let the people know, how can they get a hold of you?
Awesome. You can find my personal shenanigans and I on Twitter at Miss Sharai. There are 3 S's in there because I thought it was cute at the time and it's not anymore, but here we are. That's also my handle on Instagram if you hate Twitter, because a lot of people do, and that's your right.
Mm-hmm. And you have a couple of podcasts.
Couple. You can find A Nightmare on Fear Street at Nightmare Fierce on Twitter, Nightmare on Fear Street on Instagram. You can find Blerdy Massacre at Blerdy Massacre on both. And you can find me like harassing Joe on Anatomy of a Screen Pod Squad, where we do the altar tapes and we talk about these cute little shorts on the altar situation that you shall be watching, because almost all of them are pretty amazing. Almost all of them.
Yeah, it's like a good 9 out of 10 percentage rate. So,
and that's a good batting average. I don't do sports, but it's really good batting average. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Folks who complain about features, it's like, maybe watch more shorts, because like they're pretty much bangers every time.
I love a good short, especially when it's a short.
Yeah, the 20-minute short. Sometimes I'm like, oh god, okay.
I want to fight them and their mothers. I'm like, how dare you have a 30-minute short over Hoost?
But yeah.
Right.
But of course, people know how to find us. Keep an eye out on at Horror Queers. We're kicking around, pretty much doing shit all the time. But yeah, thank you, Sharai, for joining us. Josh, if you ever watch this, we missed you. Thank you for giving us your picks. We talked about them. Hope we did you justice. But yeah, I think with that, we can cross out Horror Queers for another hangout.
Thanks for having me.